Homeless, runaway, kicked out, couch surfing, in transition. Whatever you call it, it's a common reality for teens and young adults who end up separated from their families, living on their own without stable housing. Many of them are right here in our community. Too often, their voices aren't heard and the problem stays hidden. Today, you'll meet several young people who will share their stories of experiencing homelessness on their own and the resources and help they found to find stable housing and a path to a brighter future.
Hi, I'm Lex. I was a previously homeless youth, and now I am working to change the system that I was in. The most important thing for the community to know is that youth homelessness exists. It doesn't necessarily present itself the way that you're used to seeing. It's not always youth living in the woods or on the streets. It's people couch surfing and people trying to work multiple jobs to make ends meet, sleeping in their car. These are all ways that homelessness presents, and it's out there, you're just not seeing it. So I became homeless at 18 years old when I was kicked out of the house by my father for being queer. Being queer and trans, especially in this community, is difficult because there isn't a lot of acceptance and there's not a lot of support spaces for people like me. So I was facing this hostility at home, but I was also facing that in the community as well. So neither my home nor my community felt like a home for me. I will never forget someone in my family telling me that they hope that I die of AIDS so that they can spit on my grave and say, "I told you so." There's a lot of things that were said to me throughout the years by members of the church and members of my own family that I'm still working through to this day in therapy. When I kicked out, it was defeating, demoralizing. The people that claimed to love me and raised me turned their backs on me. And it was this feeling of being alone, being isolated. Most of my classmates had no idea. I was fortunate compared to other youth where I knew ahead of time that I was going to become homeless, so I was able to make preparations ahead of time. I had a friend that used to be a Jehovah's Witness as well, and I became really close with her family. And they took me in once I became homeless, and I lived with them throughout my senior year of high school. Being homeless affected a lot of different aspects of my life. I had to work 30 hours a week while going to school full time. I felt really uncertain. I know the statistics about homeless individuals and specifically youth, and not graduating high school, not being able to achieve all of the goals that they want. College is super expensive. There was a lot of questions about, am I going to be able to afford the necessary steps to achieve the future that I want? Because I knew that the only way that I'd be able to unlock my full potential was through school. So no matter what I was going through, I always prioritized it. Being separated from my family made a lot of things harder. So it was right before my senior year. So things like applying to college and trying to navigate that whole process and all of the aspects of adulthood on my own. Every community has a McKinney-Vento liaison by federal standards. And so I was connected with Renee, who was the liaison, right after I became homeless. And she was able to connect me with some resources, like she was able to help pay for my college applications. I had a $500 deposit once I got accepted that I needed to pay. There was navigating financial aid, there was gas money through gift cards, grocery gift cards, different small things. It was all that she was able to do, but the help was really much appreciated. Having that liaison was a relief because I had just kept getting told no, that there was nothing that anyone could do to help. And it was finally someone who said, I want to help you, I want to hear your story, and I care. I will do what I can to make this happen, and she did. So now that I am out of this situation, I wanted to change the system that I was in. And so my work for the past year and a half, 2 years, has been building up homeless youth services. So we developed 3 programs for Charlotte County, and we're developing more every day. And that's what my job is to help change the system to make it better for people in a situation like I was. There are youth who have to move from Sarasota County to Charlotte County to Lee County, Collier, like all the areas around here. Youth are getting bounced around because they have nowhere else to go, and they just need to go to whatever's best for them at the time. I'm doing great now. So I got into the university that I wanted to. This summer am going to be spending it in New York City doing a fabulous product management internship. I have a chosen family that deeply cares about me and wants me to be happy, and I go to school out of state, but I come back to Florida often for work, and I get to stay with them when I come back. And so I have a home here for once. Like, I have a place that I can be myself and be accepted and be loved.
When I was 16 years old and I was in high school, I became an unaccompanied homeless youth. There was a lot of tribulations at home between my mom and I, and there was a lot of things before the incidences of sexual abuse, and then moving in with my aunt and my uncle, and the things that happened there. And all I could think of is, I just know I needed to get away because the choices being made for me were not the right ones. It was pretty rocky at first. Yeah, I was on the streets. It was survival. It was sheer survival. I was shown this place called Northbridge, and that is where I stayed a lot of the time because that was kind of like a bigger place where people did stay. I guess it seems odd because staying under a bridge or near a bridge, wouldn't think that would be safer than the alternative. There were many opportunities where I was in danger, and and in danger of being exploited. I was a rebellious young girl, and a lot of people who are not such kind-hearted people could see a lot of opportunity in that. I have had many situations where I felt I need to get out of here, and now, whether that be with drugs or promiscuous opportunity that they would try to push, I guess. I felt like I had to physically fight for to keep myself safe and show anybody near me that, oh, she's nothing to be messed with, which is not really in my nature. Naturally, it's not, but I have to make myself look intimidating in order to keep myself safe. I was lucky enough to for nothing really bad to happen, and I'm thankful for that. And I still was in high school, so I would I'd sleep there, and then I'd get up and I'd go to school, which was a couple miles away. Well, homework while I was homeless, I didn't do homework. That's for sure. If I could get it done at school and I could turn it in then, or I would only do schoolwork while I was at school. I knew I wanted to graduate, and that was important to me. And I guess maybe that was the little bit of stability that I had left in my life at that moment. Shame was a really, really big aspect. The stigmas, I guess, that go with that shame and that feeling of I'm just gonna get looked at like I'm a troublemaker. I deserved this. And so I hid myself away. Sarasota High School connected me to Karen, my advocate from Schoolhouse Link, shown that there's hope and there are ways and there are paths that can pull you out of the situation if you hang on and pull with it. That was fuel for my fire, to know that there's hope, because that's what I needed. Schoolhouse Link, they provided a voucher for me so that I could get clothes and also the housing program there at Schoolhouse Link. A sense of purpose and opportunity to get the stability that I needed in order to keep going in school and graduate school. And as I graduated and then get set up for college, I went to trade school. It was immense. It was a very, very big aspect and reason that I could step forward and keep moving forward rather than succumb to the streets, I guess you could say. Where I'm at now in life, I graduated with my EMT, so I'm certified in that, which is awesome. And I have a house. Well, it's not mine, I'm renting, but still, it's a really good achievement. It feels very good for me. Yeah. And I own my own cars. I'm very proud of myself for when I turn around and I look at everything I've been through, and it almost feels unreal. But I am so thankful for where I'm at, and I would not be where I am if it wasn't for those adults and those advocates and everybody who helped me. Um, I wouldn't be where I am. I know that for sure.
My parents, my father, I never known him, and my mom herself was homeless because she suffers from mental illness, schizophrenia, so she was always been homeless and things like that. So I grew up with my grandparents, I got adopted by them, going through foster care. Yes, I did have other foster parents besides my grandparents. It made me feel kind of like I didn't have a lot of people in my corner. I ended up becoming homeless where I had to move in with my friend. Some of the challenges was really just like stability, really. What am I gonna eat? You know what I'm saying? And it's like at any given time this person could kick me out and things like that. You know, so, and I didn't have really transportation to get to school back and forth. So it kind of made me feel worried about, you know, my education and going to college and stuff like that. So that was always in the back of my mind. So as far as couch surfing and my friends, that happened my senior year and that carried throughout the rest of high school. Yeah, I was always popular in school. A lot of people know me and stuff, but nobody knew exactly what I was going through because I just hit it so well. You know, I always put a smile on my face. And yes, it did affect my self-confidence and my self-image a little bit in a negative way. So going through that period of homelessness, throughout those times, I kept a strong mindset through it all. So I made sure when I was at school, it was all about school. When I was at football, it was all about football, things like that. I didn't want to let those things interfere with everything else because I knew I only had one chance. I feel like I needed to talk to someone instead of just holding everything in. I reached out to the school counselors at school. I told them, is there any way I can get some help? And then they introduced me into Karen, and that forever changed my life. Okay, so Karen was my mentor. She helped me with room rental. She helped me with food stamps. So we definitely talked about the McKinney Law. And after talking about it with her, she made me feel more confident that, hey, as long as I do the right things, I can stay at Venice High. And that made me feel so much better about myself and my situation. She helped me, like, become more focused on what I should do and get into after high school. She helped me focus on more of a career. I ended up getting a full scholarship to college. I have done internships at hedge funds, private equity firms, and now I'm into day trading and managing portfolios. So I trade stocks and cryptos, and I love doing that stuff. So now I have a place, you know, I'm not at risk of being homeless or anything. I have a roof over my head, I have food. So that made me feel so much better, you know what I'm saying, because I came a long way from where I came from.
It was my senior year. I was 19 years old, and my dad had died from an overdose. So I was without housing after that. The floor was out from under me. Like I had no idea how to deal with the situation. I didn't have any support. I really had no idea how my life was going to, how my path was going to go since I didn't have money. I didn't have anything. And it was scary. I was panicked at first. Like I had no idea what was going to happen. I thought I was going to be living in my car or something. But actually my old babysitter, when I was younger, she reached out to me. She heard that my dad died and she said you could stay at, my place for the rest of my high school career and then I'll be on my own. So that was like amazing. So people who are homeless, as they classify it or whatever, they can still have housing at a friend's house or something, but who knows what will happen. That's not a stable housing, or they might still have a parent alive and then you should be fine. But just because your parents are biologically your parents does not make them suited to be parents. And I didn't have my mom for that, even though she is still alive. Because she had some mental health issues that was never treated until recently. And she was just very dangerous, to be around. I was working at Dunkin' and I was at school, and that's all I really had. And I was like, I don't want to work at Dunkin' the rest of my life. College is no longer an option in my eyes at that point. I talked to the counselors at school and they hooked me up with Schoolhouse Link. It felt great. They worked with situations like mine. I didn't even know there were so many situations like mine. And they helped me realize, college was an option. I get the Pell Grant, which was amazing. And also health insurance, which I hadn't even thought about, and like car insurance and all these things that my parents thought of, I didn't think of. And they just really helped me start in my life after high school, basically. I actually got a full ride to USF, and that just made it. Like I was like, okay, my life is back on track. Like I feel like I can do things with my life. Right now, I'm living in an apartment. It's close to school. I'm doing summer school right now. And I'm working as a behavioral health technician in the psych field, which is goes with my psychology degree. It's like I really think I wouldn't have gone that route if Schoolhouse Link hadn't been there to help me.
I'm from Argentina. I came here for high school to live with my dad. It was really rough. We got into a lot of arguments. It was really, really bad for both of us. I left my house at 18 and I just really couldn't do it anymore. So I just said, well, I'm out of here. Basically moved from one place for like a couple of months. Then I stayed in another place for a year. I felt really sad because I didn't have a place to be and I had to be in a really, really not nice place. But I was also happy that I could be by myself. I didn't have to be under my dad. I graduated high school by 18. It was, I barely graduated actually. I did experience fear and depression, worrying about the future, if I was forever gonna be living my life like this. I was worried about my health, about my mental health. I was worried about what other people will think. I was worried about even what my work will think. It was a lot of worrying. I just decided to do it. I contacted the people at Schoolhouse Link and they really helped me start school basically. So I just started the process of school a couple of months ago. They set me up with a computer, with a backpack with some papers and stuff like that. Thanks to them, I can go to school tuition free, which I couldn't go to school otherwise, I couldn't afford it. And they are even helping me pay rent. So they are doing a lot for me and I'm really grateful. My life right now, I'm really happy. I'm going to school, I have work, I have a girlfriend, and I have friends that I'm really close to. And then finally I'm here. I have my own apartment. I'm looking forward to my education. I'm looking forward to maybe having a better career. I would say I have a way more positive and forward-looking point of view now. I'm happy where I am. And I want to improve it, but I am happy where I am.
I was at the age of 12 and I was removed from my mom due to domestic violence, and I was placed into foster care, and I ended up aging out at the age of 18. Moving around while you're in foster care, it messes with you mentally because you never know what situation you're getting yourself into and you're going into. It started to mess with my behavior, and I started to get into things that I didn't know nothing about. In the meantime, I ended up pregnant at 17. I just knew right then and there that this was for me. When it comes down to aging out, you have a care plan of what you're gonna do next. It doesn't always fall through. So I had to step out of that because nothing was going right for me. I was uncertain on where I was gonna go. I ended up finding a maternity home, and I was there for a couple of months. I ended up going to a shelter, and from there I ended up having my son early, and by me having him early, I got kicked out of the shelter. So I had to move back with my mom. And from there, I moved with their dad, my kid's dad. I was enrolled into Riverview High School, and they have a SAISIS program there. So through the SAISIS program is where I met Miss Karen, and from there it's been great. She hooked me up with all types of resources, like getting food stamps while I was pregnant. So I had gotten that. She helped me get a job while I was pregnant. So I had gotten that through her. And housing. If I needed help with like rent or a deposit or anything to move into an apartment, she was able to help me with that. She was just always there. I call her for everything. So I felt love from her, and I knew that she cared about me, and I knew that she cared about my unborn, and that's what I wanted to give to my kid. I'm currently 23 years old. I am a certified nursing assistant, and I'm also an HHA, home health aide. My son is 4, my daughter is 3. I have my own apartment, a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I have my own car that I own, and I'm doing great in life. My kids have everything they need.
The most important thing for homeless youth that find themselves in this situation is to ask for help. It can be scary, it can be embarrassing, there's a lot of stigma around it, but there are so many people out there that want to help and they have resources for you, but you're never going to be able to access them if you never ask for them.
Closed mouths don't get fed. You have to speak up, you have to voice what you're going through, even if you're uncomfortable with it. Even if you don't want to go through someone else, ask questions, and you will get your answers.
Definitely reach out. Like, there's resources out there, especially Schoolhouse Link. Like, they have all the resources, they know them, they have contacts with them.
Talk with people. I think that's the best advice I can give.
I just also want homeless youth to never underestimate the power and strength of a chosen family. It may not be your blood-related family, but those people care and love about you just as deeply. It's an unconditional love that you will be able to find, and if you find it, embrace it, hold on to it, and don't let it go.
If I can talk to my younger self, I will say keep going, because you're gonna make it.
You have to love yourself every single step of the way through every decision, because that's where the power comes from, you know, is from inside. And to love yourself and to want to do better because you know you deserve it.
And just know every day that you go through, everything that you experience is to better you and is for you. And just keep that picture in mind whenever you're going through any tough times, and it'll get you through it.